It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome to the Tennessee bonus hour of the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. It is Friday, December 6, 2024, in studio. The original All-Star panelist, my friend for over 30 years.
Yikes.
The great Crom Carmichael. Hello, Crom.
Greetings, kind sir.
Crom, 4 years ago, if I had said to you, Crom, we're going to have a visit on Capitol Hill from two people who are leading the charge to cut government spending, and they're aligned very closely with Donald Trump. And their names are Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. You would say, Vivek?
Yes, I would not know who Vivek was 4 years ago.
Yeah, you would have known who Elon was.
And Elon Musk was not he wasn't the person that he is today in terms of his, I'm going to say, his view of government.
Well, he voted, I think, for Biden, for Hillary Clinton in 2016, I think.
Okay.
And he voted for Obama in 2012.
Okay.
I think Hillary Clinton in 2016 and Joe Biden in 2020.
Okay.
And now he's aligned and joined at the hip with Donald Trump.
Well, I'm just I'm guessing Elon. I don't know how he voted in the past, but he did not strike me in the past as somebody who saw the size and breadth of government as a problem, and he does now. And now let me say this: right now he does now, but there's when you back an entrepreneur, when you back somebody in a startup.
Hold on just a minute, so our audience can understand this.
Yeah,
that's what you do.
Yeah,
you are an early stage investor.
Yeah, I've done that for about 25 years.
So you know whereof you speak.
Well, here's what I've learned, and I've had a lot of failures and a lot of investments that have failed. I've had a number of investments that have succeeded, and I have a number of them that I'm still in that I have high hopes for.
But that's really the way it works, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But here's the key. A good idea, well executed, is a success. An average idea, well executed, is a success, just not as big a success as the better idea, well executed. A great idea, poorly executed, is a failure.
Boom.
And that's the key part here. And so here I have high hopes for Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and what they are attempting to do. But between here and an accomplishment are special interests that are so large that they cannot be comprehended.
Now let me kind of continue on that, because if you're an entrepreneur and you're the CEO, as Elon Musk is in SpaceX, right? Which is spectacular in launching satellites and putting Starlink up, and in Tesla, which is spectacular in making electric vehicles, for instance. You're in charge of execution, and if somebody doesn't do what you want, boom, they're gone.
He has to get rid of them, and the higher up they are, the more territory within the company that they cover, the more responsibilities they have, the more the greater the importance is that they are effective in their execution, not their desires and not their motivations, in their execution. And so, in government, and let me just I'm going to make a statement that is true. It doesn't always apply in its truth, but the statement is this: government is inherently inefficient. It doesn't mean it always is inefficient. It means it is inherently inefficient. The market, the free market, is inherently efficient. That doesn't mean that everything that happens in the free market works or turns out to be efficient. But the goal of the free market is to succeed in making something that sells for more than it costs, and then reducing the costs on that item, which makes it less expensive and therefore available to more people. Government is exactly the opposite. How do government employees get paid? What is the single most important determination? What one thing determines more than anything else how much a person who works for government is paid?
Seniority?
No.
Tell me.
How many people work under
yes.
that person?
I've heard this before,
Yeah.
and it's been correct before.
Yeah, it is, and it still is. And so if I'm a government employee and I want to make more money, then I am trying to get more people employed under me in my department. I am constantly asking for more money, more resources, so that I can hire more people. My boss, who oversees other agencies, feels the same way, because then that way they can make more money. And because it is literally determined by, there's like 15 different schedules, and they're all related to how many people work under you. And in the private sector, it's the opposite. It's how much can you accomplish with fewer people, or can you accomplish more? It's kind of like when Elon Musk bought Twitter, he fired 80% of the people. 80%.
And it's not skipped a beat.
And it didn't change anything.
Yeah.
And so, but if that were government, then everybody there would have been making more money than they otherwise would have made. And
let me give you this little tidbit, though, Crom. I got to give you this little tidbit before we go a little further on this. Do you see this report that Elon Musk has cited? Do you know what percentage of federal government employees are literally showing up at work and not at home?
I've heard the story. It's like 6 or 7%.
6%, yeah.
Show up at work.
And if you take all the janitorial staff out, it's only 1%.
1%, yeah. Janitorial and security.
And security, correct.
And you have the Biden administration that's just signed a contract that extends for 5 years to allow government employees to work from home for the next 5 years. And now, I don't know that that's legal. In other words, when one administration can't bind the next administration.
I think you're probably right, but there's probably little twists and turns along the way.
Oh, I'm saying this is where the special interest. And so Kim Strassel, who writes good articles more often than she writes articles that aren't particularly exciting, but she wrote one here that she won't run here, and there's one sentence in here that is fantastic, and I want to read the headline. Doge's mission is the opposite of mission creep. The sub-headline, for Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to succeed, they have to rethink the purpose of the federal government. And here's the line that the sentence is this: take away the mission and you take away both the power and the need for most of that workforce. So you don't try to reinvent or reimagine how to manage a mission effectively. You say that's not the federal government should not have that mission at all.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have a particular mission at all, then you don't need the people who are trying to do something
that
is inherently wasteful.
Let me give it the mission of FEMA, for instance, Federal Emergency Management, should be to help American citizens in natural disasters.
Yes.
And yet, when that horrible omnibus budget was passed with 3,000 pages, they threw in $800 million to help illegal immigrants. That's an example of it.
They threw in a lot more than $800 million.
Well,
it's in the billions and billions of dollars. That's why FEMA ran out of money. It wasn't because there were too many natural disasters. FEMA spent billions and billions
which
of
illustrates
dollars.
Your point.
Yes, it does. Yeah, but I want to talk when we get back. The next break, I want to focus specifically on healthcare.
Healthcare, here we come. Back after this, I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. He's Crom Carmichael.
Hi, folks. folks, John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just 1 scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, Tireget.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. Hey, the folks at the Nashville Pizza Company in Franklin, Tennessee are aware that many disadvantaged children will be without this upcoming Christmas unless we all get involved. That's why Nashville Pizza Company is pleased to be a part of the Someone Cares mission, Toys for Joy campaign this year in this world of unrest. Let's hold hands. Let's hold hands. Okay, Carl, let's hold hands and show children that love still manages the world to go round. Our good friends at Nashville Pizza Company, located at 2176 Hillsborough Road in Franklin, they're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction. It's a great place, Nashville Pizza Company, but I got to tell you that I was just reading that copy.
Yeah, but helping kids
is a good thing.
This time of year. It's a great time of year. Toys for Tots.
Toys for Joy. There you go.
And I'm saying these are all Salvation Army. These are all wonderful, wonderful charities to support this time of year.
Very good. Yeah. All right. Speaking of charities, I don't think it's charity, but healthcare. Let's talk about healthcare.
Yeah. Michael, when you look at our healthcare system, first of all, our healthcare system spends more than twice as much as the second highest spending country in the world. We spend twice as much per person than the second highest. And so that means that there's something inherently expensive about the way our system works. Now,
what might that be, Cron?
Well, that I'm going to tell you exactly what it is, and I'm going to give you a couple of comparisons.
Okay.
First of all, I'm going to talk about car insurance. Almost everybody who drives a car has car insurance. They use their car insurance when they have a wreck. In other words, their car insurance is used for an unusual event. Healthcare is exactly the opposite. The way our health insurance works, because there is an annual deductible, this is the key. Because there is an annual deductible, insurance companies are involved in every single purchase in healthcare. So if you go to a doctor visit for a checkup that ought to cost $50 to $60, who really needs insurance for something that costs $50 to $60? Almost no one. But yet everybody has insurance covering that doctor visit. Because the way that doctor visit works, Michael, is that you go in and the nurse will say, "Oh, Mr. Leahy, I see you have a $35 copay." And so you pay the $35 and you see the doctor, and then you go home. And then the doctor has an expensive electronic medical record because he has to have an electronic computer system to keep his records and to be able to send those records to someplace so that he can ultimately get reimbursed.
Right, because everybody gets
reimbursed from somewhere,
right?
Because they're not getting paid in full the day of the service. And so what happens is that electronic medical record goes to a third-party billing company. The third-party billing company charges that doctor to look at the electronic medical records, which the doctor also has to pay for. It looks at it to make sure that all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and codes are correct. If they are, then the third-party billing company then sends that electronic medical record to the insurance company that covers that particular patient. And then the insurance company has a group of people and technology that makes sure all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and codes are correct. And if they're not, they send it back to the billing company, which sends it back to the doctor, which delays the payment, which helps the insurance company because it improves their cash flow. But if it is correct, then the insurance company sends you, Mr. Leahy, an EOB.
Oh.
That is an explanation of benefits. Yes.
Boom.
Yes. And it says, this is not a bill. Mr. Leahy, that doctor was trying to charge you $250. We've negotiated the price down to $150. So your immediate reaction is, well, thank goodness I have insurance to help me reduce that $250 bill.
But there's a rest of the story here, isn't there?
Yeah. And so now you sit there at home. The record goes back to the billing company, which then sends you a bill. And the bill shows that there was a $250 retail price, which was negotiated down to $150, and you have already paid $35 on the copay. And so it tells you to pay $115 because if you haven't met your deductible for the year of $3,000, for example, then you have to pay the $115. And so if you pay the $115, the whole transaction is finished.
So let me just pause here for a moment. I mean,
there are 7 steps. There were 7 steps in paying a doctor bill.
So, Crump, our listeners,
Yeah.
who everybody has to pay these bills. Everybody has healthcare issues. And what you're describing is a very irritating part of their lives.
But there's nothing they can do about it, and so we just do. I'm on Medicare. I care deeply about the cost of healthcare. Do you know how much I can do about it?
Zero zip nada?
Exactly nothing.
Yeah.
If I was on a company plan, back when I had my own company, we had private insurance for our company and for our employees. I had to follow the rules of the insurance company. I couldn't do it any other way, but I did actually do it another way because it made me so angry that I was not entirely honest. Not entirely. I wasn't dishonest, but I wasn't entirely honest.
This is a nice moral twist here.
Right.
Tell me.
So here's what I would do. Here's what I would do.
Hold it. Crom was not entirely honest.
Yes, and
Tell
that is a very accurate statement. I wasn't dishonest. I wasn't entirely honest. And so what happened was, for example, I had a colonoscopy.
Yeah.
Okay. I needed a colonoscopy, and I called the doctor, and I said, and it was early in the year when I had a high deductible that I hadn't paid. And I said, "Doctor, I don't have insurance for this." Now, I did have insurance, but I didn't have insurance for that. And because I said I didn't have insurance for that, he could give me a cash price, which was $1,200. And that was pardon the for a colonoscopy, pardon the pun, that was the all-in price.
Oh my gosh! People, hold it, Crom. People have now pulled it to the side of the road.
Yes,
and they're either laughing uproariously,
or they've turned the channel,
they've turned the channel.
But anyway, now that included the doctor, that included the anesthesiologist, and it included the facility. Do you know how much the insurance price would have been?
$3,000.
$11,000 negotiated down to $6,000.
Wow!
So it would have been $6,000, okay, out of pocket for me, but instead I paid $1,200. Now I didn't apply that against my deductible because I didn't go through the insurance system. You can't apply a cash payment against your deductible because insurance companies will not allow that. And so our insurance.
Are you suggesting? Let me just.
Yes,
I'm
please
jump
to the conclusion.
Well, are you suggesting that we have an inefficient healthcare market?
We have it is incredibly inefficient.
Did I get the right
yes,
answer?
You did get it. Yeah.
Thank you.
And it is, but there is a solution.
What?
There's a solution, and that is let us think about how do we help people. Food is more important for life than healthcare. If you don't have food, you die, and you die fairly soon if you don't have food. And so food is more important, but we don't have mandated food insurance for all people. What we do have is for people who need help buying food, we have food stamps. So what we do is we let the grocery stores stock the shelves and price the food, and then we let the consumers or the buyers of grocery products determine whether or not the price is fair by whether or not they buy the product or not, and what the selection will be. And then we let the people with food stamps use their food stamps to buy those same foods at the same price using food stamps.
So are you proposing
health
stamps?
I'm proposing that we have HSAs for everybody.
Tell people
a health savings account.
Got it.
That might be $3,000 per person. And so if you have family members, you would get, and it might not be $3,000 for every single family member, but I'm open for that. But it might be $3,000 for the first, and then $2,000 for each of the additional family members. Now, so let's say that there's a family of 4. You're going to have a $9,000 HSA, and you're going to use that HSA to pay in full for all of your health care services except hospitalization. Hospitalization is like the car crash. Hospitalization is the unusual event that doesn't happen very often. Now, some people will say, well, what about chronic illnesses? I say, well, that certainly is an issue, and that is the exception as opposed to the rule. So just as in food, we have 20% of people who need food stamps. What we do is we say, let's fix the rule first, and then let's look at the exceptions. And we will then on exception by, that doesn't necessarily mean on a case by case, but on an exception by exception basis, we may increase the amount that goes into the HSA. Now and then what happens is at the end of the year, if a family has not spent the money in their HSA, it remains in their HSA and the HSA grows. So that as they age, if they are healthy, so this gives incentives to people to remain healthy. Now, our system today is a sick care system. People only get money if they're sick. Now, people will actually accumulate money if they make healthy choices.
So the guy that you need to connect with
is
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Well, yes, or through the Doge group,
the Doge gang,
because the Doge gang is looking for ways to eliminate costs.
Crom, we will help to facilitate that process.
I hope you are able to. That would be a great. It would be a great
When
service.
we come back, did you listen to any of the oral arguments on the Tennessee SCOTUS case?
I heard some, but I want to hear more. Yeah.
All right, we'll have that when we get back. This is the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Back after this. words about our friends at the Nashville Pizza Company, 2176 Hillsborough Road. The Nashville Pizza Company in Franklin reminds us that the current economic times have been tough on many families in our area, and many are finding it hard to make ends meet. Your donations of clothing or canned goods can make a difference for a family in need. During this holiday season, give from the heart so others can have a new start. That's courtesy of our friends at Nashville Pizza Company, 2176 Hillsborough Road in Franklin. They are always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
My fellow Americans, my good friends, I've known them for a long time, at D.T. McCall & Sons have the deal of a lifetime for you, and nobody knows deals like I do. That much I can tell you. Nobody knows deals like I do. The lumber yards, they can hit you with hidden charges for up to $200 extra. They'll charge you for cords and hoses and haul-offs. Your money goes all over the place and out of the state, and most importantly, out of your pockets. How do they get away with that? I don't know how they do that, but on day one, if you buy from McCall's, we are going to stop the hidden charges as soon as you buy it. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. Head to one of their stores today or check them out at dtmccalls.com. You're going to love it. Believe me.
Impersonator not endorsed
This
by
summer,
Donald
never
Trump.
leave pets in vehicles while running errands. Even with windows cracked, 80 degrees can shoot up to 120 degrees, causing heat stroke, dehydration, and even death. So keep pets hydrated, shaded in cool areas, or just leave them at home. That's from Kathy, Candy, and the staff at Mutts Cuts Grooming, the people with warm hearts for those with cold noses. For your pet's grooming needs, call 931-645-9220. That's 931-645-9220 for Mutts Cuts Grooming in Clarksville, Tennessee at 1479 Tiny Town Road.
Hey there, this is Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of The Glock Store. As a proud sponsor of this show, you may have heard Michael Patrick Leahy mention us a few times over the past 4 years. But today, it's me on the radio telling you how pleased we are to be associated with Michael Patrick Leahy and his dedication to the highest levels of professional journalism. Michael Patrick Leahy has been threatened with jail time in bringing the true facts about that Nashville Covenant shooting to his listening audience. Michael Patrick Leahy, you keep doing what you're doing, and we here at the Glock Store will keep sponsoring your show for the good of Nashville and the entire country. And I'm personally inviting all of your listeners to come visit and shoot at the Glock Store. It's where Michael Patrick Leahy learned to shoot a gun for the first time and where he bought his own personal Glock 19. I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of the Glock Store here in Nashville, just minutes from the airports, worth the drive from anywhere, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy and the Tennessee Star Report.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are broadcasting live from our studios in downtown Nashville. Crom, we haven't called for callers, but we will take some if they want to weigh in right now. 615-649-8477. 615-649-8477. You know, Crom, it has been an eventful week for the state of Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Our great Attorney General, Jonathan Skrmetti, is the named party in what's going to be a landmark Supreme Court decision.
Mm-hmm.
United
Well,
States.
it may be.
No, it's going to be a landmark either way.
Well, okay. Could it be? I'm saying it's even a bigger landmark if they broaden it as opposed to a real narrow interpretation.
It's going to be a landmark.
Okay, all right.
It's United States v.
Yeah.
Skrmetti.
Yeah.
And we don't know how it's going to turn out, but I suspect it'll be a victory for the state of Tennessee, probably 6-3, 5-4. It'll be announced in June. But on Wednesday of this week, that would be 2 days ago, oral arguments were heard in the Supreme Court. Have you listened to any of those oral arguments?
I've heard some.
Yeah.
But I've not heard. I've heard sound bites.
So let's talk about this a little bit. SB1 was a bill that just recently passed the Tennessee General Assembly.
Mm-hmm.
It had bipartisan support, and the idea of the bill was to protect minors under the age of 18 from making life-altering, irreversible decisions at a time when they really didn't have the capability to make those decisions.
Right.
And there are three elements to that bill. Number one, prohibited genital mutilation surgery.
Okay.
Number two, prohibited puberty blockers.
Okay.
And number 3, prohibited hormone therapy.
Mm-hmm.
2 of those 3 elements were challenged in a court in litigation, as the Tennessee General Assembly and Governor Bill Leahy anticipated. You had the American Civil Liberties Union, leftist group, and the Biden administration. The Biden administration sued.
Well, just think of it as the Democrat Party.
Yeah, either way.
I mean, I'm not trying to be disparaging here. I'm trying to be accurate.
The other plaintiffs in the case were, I think, 3 young,
by the way,
3 young children in Tennessee.
Okay,
were the plaintiffs who purport to be interested in gender transitioning.
Okay,
they've been brainwashed to think it's a good thing.
Well, no, whatever it is. I'm not trying. We're just that's what they want. And
that's what they're being. That's what they're being brainwashed to want.
Well,
but okay. So here's the case.
Yeah.
So the case then goes to federal district court, where it is the decision is made in favor of the plaintiffs. Then it goes to the circuit court, and the decision is made in favor of the state of Tennessee. That is appealed by the Biden administration and ACLU.
Now,
it's appealed to the Supreme Court.
Can I stop you just because you said something there that was astounding to me? You're saying the original federal judge ruled against the state of Tennessee.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Wow. Who appointed that judge? I'm curious. Do we know?
I would guess Barack Obama.
I mean, I'm just, okay. Yeah. So, and then it went to the appellate court, and the appellate court reversed the district court. Okay, all right.
So what happened is we lost in federal court. I'm just doing this from memory, but I'm pretty sure this is the case. Lost in federal court. Immediately, basically, they appealed for a stay of the judgment at the Circuit Court of Appeals, and they got that.
Okay.
And then, so that's the whole process that's gone through. So in this instance now, we have, I mean, it's a pretty big deal, right? You have the hearings, the oral argument, and all, General Scarametti was just on the show. I don't know if you listened to it as he was coming in, but General Scarametti was there. He assigned a young man who is a rising conservative legal superstar, Matthew Rice.
Okay.
Yeah, have I told you about Matthew?
Well, you've told me he's a young rising superstar.
And he also, he's interesting. He's from East Tennessee, I think.
Okay.
Got a baseball scholarship to play at Western Kentucky.
Okay.
He was so good. How good was he, Crum asks. He was so good, Crum, that he played 2 years in the Tampa Bay Rays minor league system.
Oh, okay.
He was a catcher. He hit .295.
Ooh.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah. I don't know if he got past the A-League, developmental leagues. But then he got to a point where he said, I'm pretty good with a bat, but I think I'm going to make my name not in baseball, but with my brain.
Okay.
He applied to the University of California at Berkeley Law School. It's called Bolt Law School.
Okay.
Which is a top 10 law school.
Okay. All right.
And it's San Francisco Bay Area. He was the #1 student in that class.
Wow. Now that is impressive.
That is impressive.
Very impressive.
But wait, there's more. So then he was a law clerk in the Ninth Circuit Court. Now the Ninth Circuit Court, as you know,
that's
lefty land.
That is lefty land.
And then from there, he worked for a big law firm in D.C., Williams and Connolly. And then
I would think you would actually, if you are conservative, serving on the Ninth Circuit Court would be very intellectually stimulating. I would think it would be quite stimulating.
So then he went and he was a law clerk for Clarence Thomas.
Oh, my goodness.
From there, he became the Solicitor General here for the state of Tennessee.
Okay.
And, when we had Attorney General Jonathan Scarametti here in studio a couple months ago, he said, look, this is a very big job, and I'm going to give the assignment to Matthew Rice. He's really great. And Matthew Rice spent 4 months preparing for it. And so Wednesday, we have the recording, and I want to play it for you right now, and we'll stop it as we go through. It was 2.5 hours of oral argument.
That's a lot, by the way.
Yeah. Well, the first 45 minutes was the federal government, the Solicitor General,
right,
the plaintiff. Then the next 45 minutes was the ACLU, represented by a woman who has transitioned to male.
Okay.
Her name is Chase Strangio.
Okay.
Okay, so 45 minutes of that person. Then it wasn't until about an hour and 40 minutes in that we had the opportunity. So there were 2 people for the plaintiffs,
okay,
and only 1 for the defense.
Okay.
And so we got about a third of the time, but he didn't need more than a third of the time.
Right.
I want you to listen to this. This is, we've queued it up from the point where he begins his opening statement, and then we'll go through and see how the justices ask him questions.
Okay.
Here we go. Here's Matthew Rice at the Supreme Court on Wednesday.
Mr. Rice? Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the court. Tennessee lawmakers enacted SB 1 to protect minors from risky, unproven medical interventions. The law imposes an across-the-board rule that allows the use of drugs and surgeries for some medical purposes, but not for others. Its application turns entirely on medical purpose, not a patient's sex. That is not sex discrimination. The challengers try to make the law seem sex-based this morning by using terms like masculinizing and feminizing, but their arguments conflate fundamentally different treatments. Just as using morphine to manage pain differs from using it to assist suicide, using hormones and puberty blockers to address a physical condition is far different from using it to address psychological distress associated with one's body. The Equal Protection Clause does not require the states to blind themselves to medical reality or to treat unlike things the same. And it does not constitutionalize one side's view of a disputed medical question. Half of the states, Sweden, Finland, and the UK, all now restrict the use of these interventions in minors and recognize the uncertainty surrounding their use. These interventions carry often irreversible and life-altering consequences, and the systematic reviews conducted by European health authorities have found no established benefits. Politically accountable lawmakers, not judges, are in the best position to assess this evolving medical issue. The Sixth Circuit should be affirmed. I welcome the court's questions.
Okay, let me just stop there.
Wow, that was a very quick argument.
It was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yes,
made the case.
And that's really what this case. That's what this case is about. And I'm sure that the arguments made by the other side, they're trying to say what this case is really about isn't what this case is really about. It's about something else.
Okay, so remember now he was the law clerk for Clarence Thomas.
Yeah.
And Clarence Thomas rarely asked questions, except in this instance, the first question came from
Clarence Thomas.
And then Sonia Sotomayor, you'll hear it,
okay,
rudely interrupts when Matthew Rice is answering. Here we go.
Okay. Both the SG and petitioner have suggested that a better approach would be the approach of West Virginia. What's your reaction to that?
Your Honor, my friend's arguments with respect to the alternative approaches is pure policymaking. As Justice Kavanaugh recognized throughout his questioning, they cannot stand up here and say that if these alternatives were imposed, that there would be no detransitioners. So they cannot eliminate the risk of detransitioners. So it becomes a pure exercise of weighing benefits versus risk. And the question of how many minors have to have their bodies irreparably harmed for unproven benefits is one that is best left.
I'm sorry, Counselor. Every medical treatment has a risk.
Okay. Did you hear the dripping condescension?
Well,
in that question from Sonia Sotomayor?
Well, it wasn't a question; it was a statement.
Yeah,
it was a statement, and it just because that's true, just because the sun. I'm sorry, Counselor, the sun comes up in the east every day.
Here we go. And let's hear the rest of that.
I mean,
we'll wait for the follow-up. Here we go.
Even taking aspirin.
Okay, hold on. You see what she said?
Sure.
She is comparing
this is
the minimal side effects of taking aspirin to the life-altering effects, irreparable changes brought about by puberty blockers and hormone therapy.
Right. This is a common practice of trying to make the exception the rule or reverse. And the way I look at it, it's a little bit like these people who say Trump and Biden are the same. when they're really not. And another way of doing it is to say the Catholic Church has, I don't know exactly what they call them, but there's minor sins.
No.
Or venial.
You're talking to...
Okay, what are they called?
Somebody raised a Catholic.
Yeah.
A venial sin is one which is less significant in the hierarchy.
Right.
If you die with an unconfessed and unforgiven venial sin, you don't go to hell.
Okay.
A mortal sin, a very serious sin like murder.
Yeah.
If you're a Catholic, and you die with an unconfessed and unforgiven mortal sin, you go to hell.
Yeah, okay. So Sotomayor is saying that venial sins and mortal sins are the same.
Here's more from Sotomayor.
Is going to be a percentage of the population under any medical treatment that's going to suffer a harm. So the question in my mind is not, do policymakers decide whether one person's life is more valuable than the millions of others who get relief from this treatment?
Okay.
Millions?
I mean, Crom, I have the same reaction. But
Yeah,
millions?
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Crom, we'll have more when we get back. It'll be time for, guess what?
News potpourri.
News potpourri. And we got a lot of it.
Okay, all right, good.
Back after this.
Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Soul Tea, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Soul Tea has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Soul Tea for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Soul Tea and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Soul Tea, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Soul Tea
bone and
today.
joint health? Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Original All-Star panelist Crom Carmichael in studio. Crom, it's that time of day again. It's time for News Potpourri.
Yes, Michael. It's that time of the program for the little tidbits that merit the attention of our audience, but not an entire segment and have a touch of
irony. Here's one. The FBI today arrested a Boston city councilor. Her name is Tanya Fernandez Anderson on public corruption charges. Now, Tanya Fernandez Anderson, very interesting. She was an illegal immigrant. She came from Cape Verde as a 10-year-old, and apparently somehow she got past that, became an American citizen in 2019, got elected. Her husband is currently incarcerated for murder.
Jeez.
And the story is she's facing 5 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of theft concerning programs receiving federal funds, according to a court filing. Basically, she hired a staff member related to her and then defrauded the city by proposing an arrangement in which the person would receive additional compensation but would kick back most of this bonus pay.
Is that person's name Hunter? Is that the relative's name Hunter? I mean, by the way, this is what people in Congress do all the time.
Yeah.
Ilhan Omar, the squad members essentially hire all their buddies and family members. So it's really quite something that somehow this is legal in Washington but illegal in Boston.
In this instance, I might also add, it's apparently 'tis the season for pardons.
Yes.
It's not just Hunter Biden. There's various stories floating out. Basically, anybody associated with Joe Biden in the past decade is going to get a pardon.
Now, here's what I have heard to be true, and you can tell me if I'm correct, if you know. And that is that Biden could issue a pardon and not make it public. That's what I've heard. But that if the person is investigated or indicted, they have to reveal that not only that Biden pardoned them, but that they accepted the pardon.
I've heard that too. I've heard
so
that.
That's what I've heard. So I don't
believe it to be true. But
okay.
I've heard it as well.
All right. Well, then it will remain unknown. But it's complicated. But I have heard that they're looking at dozens of potential pardons.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, Donald Trump, when he campaigned, he said he's going to pardon all the people who have been indicted for J6 because he believes that they were all, especially the ones who've been in prison, that they have paid a much greater price than the penalty was much greater than the sin. And so he campaigned on that. And so if he does it, he's merely fulfilling a campaign promise. This is interesting, Michael. Headline from the Epoch Times: French government ousted in no confidence vote. This is where Prime Minister Michael Barnier, I guess is how you pronounce it, he was picked to be the prime minister, which means you're the guy that presents the budget. He was picked like 90 days ago. He's presented his budget, and it calls for tax increases and spending cuts because the French deficit is 6% of their GDP.
We're like 24%, aren't we? We're up there pretty high ourselves.
No, 6% is the size of their deficit.
Right.
Our
deficit.
Their deficit is 6% of their GDP.
Not their debt.
Yeah,
their deficit.
And the deficit size, and so they're not supposed to be more than 3. If you're a Eurozone member, your deficit is not supposed to be greater than 3, and so France is on the clock to get their deficit from 6 to 3. And so he said, okay, well, I'm going to increase some taxes and I'm going to cut some spending. And apparently that's so unpopular that he lasted for 90 days.
I got one for you.
Please.
We just can't get away from this presidential horse race thing, right? Now there's talk of 2024 going to 2028. They always turn the page.
Turn the page.
Yes, thank you, Crom.
Yeah.
Apparently, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has taken the first step in her bid for president in 2028 She's filed some FEC paperwork. She is like, I think she just turned 30, so she's
old enough, 35.
Just turned 35, so she's old enough to do
it.
You got to be 35 for president.
You have to be. She's not 35 yet, but she will be 35. Yeah.
So all I have to say is, I'll say one thing about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. It would be very hard for her to be worse than Kamala Harris.
Well, let me say this. AOC has millions of followers on the various social media platforms. And so I'm not going to say that she would win the Democrat primary, but if she decides to run, she will be formidable in the Democrat primaries because it's the most extreme people who vote in the primaries. And she will make life miserable for the other people who are up on the stage debating with her.
I think it would be,
and so it is my great hope that she runs. I think it would be a service to the country,
and she would have pretty much the same general election results of Kamala Harris.
Well, we don't know that. I'm only talking about the primary, and so
she's actually 35 years old as
already.
We speak. She turned 35 October 13th.
Okay, all right. Well, there you go. This is interesting to me. You have Charlemagne the God who went on The View,
or as we call him here, Charlemagne TG, because
Okay. Charlemagne TG goes on The View and has a bit of a dust-up with Joey Behar. And he's had a dust-up with other people. But here's what bothers me about Charlemagne the God. And about TG. And Jon Stewart and Bill Maher and Chuck Todd. They're all now complaining after the election is over. But who did they support prior to the Tuesday election?
Kamala Harris.
They supported, all four of them supported Kamala Harris. And so for them to be complaining about how attacking progressives now, I'm sorry, it's a little bit too late, and it's also, in my opinion, quite disingenuous and self-serving.
Got one last thing before we head out. The Trump effect already hit. Gasoline has hit a 3-year low.
And it will go lower.
You bet. Crom, thanks for joining us today.
You bet.
All right. We'll be back on Monday. I hope you have a great weekend. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. Up next, Rob Carson. This is Michael Patrick Leahy. I want to say a word about my good friend Dustin Damon. Dustin is the best handyman in Middle Tennessee. Call Dustin today at 724-683-4400. That's 724-683-4400 if you have a job around the house that you just haven't gotten around to. If you're busy like me, you just may not have the time to fix that broken mailbox, repair the back porch, or get that old light fixture back to working properly. Do what I did. Call Dustin Damon today at 724-683-4400, and he will bring his truck and tools to your house and get that job done lickety-split. Dustin's main service area is Williamson County and the southern part of Davidson County. So call Dustin Damon, the best handyman in Middle Tennessee today, at 724-683-4400. Tell him you heard about him on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. The Chief Team reminds listeners here that more and more veterans will be returning home over the next few years, and many are local. These heroes have elite military training and valuable professional skills, but they also need jobs too. That's why the Chief Team is encouraging all local businesses. Let's make it the year we hire smart and hire veterans. That's from the Chief Team, where they say service isn't just a courtesy, it's a commitment. For more information, call 931-444-3572. That's 931-444-3572 for the Chief Team in Clarksville.
The Black preaching tradition is deeply connected to gospel music. PBS presents a new series hosted by Henry Louis Gates Jr., Gospel. Our singers preach and our preachers sing.
Gospel is a prayer. It is our heart's cry to God in lyrics and song.
You feel it deep down in your soul.
Gospel. Streaming now on the PBS app.